Eretz asher do mideinei Hashem Elekecho bo 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 Eretz asher do mideinei Hashem Elekecho bo 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 Reishi sashono Adach nishono Do mideinei Hashem Elekecho bo Elekecho bo I do mideinei Hashem Elekecho bo Elekecho bo
Hello everyone, this is the fifth in the series of Unforgotten Heroes, and today I'd like to speak about Rav Shalom Gold, Zecher Tzadik Livracha. I hit Rabbi Gold exactly when I made Aliya to Israel, davening in his shul for 4 years, and actually being Bar-Mitzva in his shul. I already gave a hesped for him after he passed away. Today 240 people heard it, so you can definitely hear more about him there. I'd like to focus here about how he influenced me at that age to this day. Number one, I was once at a wedding with the son of my Rebbe and mentor, Rav Amital, and we stood together at the chuppah. And it was Parshat Kitisa or Parshat Shkolim, and the rabbi gets up and starts saying, "You know why the Jewish people have to give half a shekel and not a full shekel? Because..." Before he goes on to say the famous line that without another Jew you're not complete, and therefore you two are not complete without each other, that have been said and resaid so many times. Rav Amital's son whispers to me, "Shuv pam hadrasha hazo." We have to hear this again. The first thing that hit me about Rav Shalom Gold was HaMechadesh betuvo bechol yom tamid. He never got up without a good question, a new one, and an amazing answer that you never heard before. Every drasha, every time he got up, he said something innovative. It was never the same old, same old. I don't think he recycled drashas, but don't take my word for it. Listen to how Rabbi Taub, former rabbi of the Bayit in Thornhill, in Toronto, maspid him on the day of his levaya. And what he said, Rabbi Gold said to him on their last conversation, a week or something before he passed away. Hear for yourself.
Spoke to Rav Avram Shalom last Sunday. And the third topic of conversation was that he had to speak in Tuvei Ayir Friday night. And let's come up with a good kasha. Let's come up with a good kasha.
We have to come up with a good kasha. This is a man that's passed 80 a long time ago. This is a man that's been a rabbi of at least 3 shuls in Toronto, West Hempstead, Harnof, and he wants to come up with a good kasha in Beit Tuvei Ha'ir, an old age home in Yerushalayim. That was the first takeaway I had from Rabbi Gold. Don't ever get up and say the same old, same old. People remember it and people get sick of it. Come up with something different. Come up with something new. It could be the same message, but at least wrap it with a different wrapping. Hear his words himself. Just listen to the way he tells us what we've been taught since kindergarten. Why is there no nun in Ashrei? Because nun signifies falling, and we don't want to fall, so David HaMelech left it out. But listen to the way Rabbi Gold spins it.
Why is there no nun in Ashrei, the Gemara says? Because the nun of Ashrei represents fall. Falling. And David HaMelech didn't want to write it because Pasuk says, Nafla, Besulas Yisrael, the Virgin of Israel, has fallen, Lo Tosif Kum, she will not rise again. So therefore, no nun. Despite the fact that there's no nun, there's a samach afterwards, and the samach gives support to the fallen. So may Hashem l'chol hanoflim. God supports the fallers. But the Gemara says, B'madrova, in Eretz Yisrael they learn different pshat in the pasuk. In Eretz Yisrael they learn pshat in the pasuk, Nafla lo tosif, she has fallen and she will not fall again. Kum betulat Yisrael, arise. Because in Eretz Yisrael, when Eretz Yisrael rises, Eretz Yisrael is going to rise and grow from day to day in greater strength. The Gemara here is saying there is no guarantee for any community in the world. No guarantee. But Eretz Yisrael, Nafla, After that low Tosaf, she's going to rise.
I don't think you've ever heard that before. It's in the Gemara, and yet the way he said it, we've never heard before. Which leads me to my second point. It wasn't just the message, the content, but the way the message was delivered. Always dramatic. Always with superlatives. Always in a way that you did not want to stop listening. So, he loved the Jewish people. But how does he choose to say he loves the Jewish people? Just by saying, I love Mika Amcha Yisrael Goyachad Ba'aretz? No. Take a look and listen.
Great historians don't always get it right. Arnold Toynbee was a Goyen, great historian. He traced 21 different civilizations, from infancy, from the struggle to survive, to growth, finally rising to strength, conquest, reaching the very peak of power. And then inexorably, the decline, the deterioration, the disintegration, the demise, and the disappearance. Now, all of these civilizations followed precisely the plan that had been set out for them by Toynbee, except one. There was one pesky little people around who, according to Toynbee, should long ago have been dead and have disappeared, and they still kept popping up all around the place. The Jews. Now, he could have resolved his terrible problem with the Jews by simply saying, well, every rule has an exception to the rule. But I don't think he was ready to say that the Jews are an exceptional people. So he came up with a brilliant approach to the existence, the stubborn existence of the Jewish people on the face of this earth. And what he came up with was the idea that every civilization leaves behind shards, pottery, all sorts of evidence that they once existed. So he said, the Jews that you see walking around, these are the fossils, the leftovers of a civilization that's about to reach the point of disappearance. And they do what fossils are supposed to do, die. Then came an awesome day, May 14th, 1948, Hey Iyar, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It was a Friday. The state was declared in Tel Aviv.
He quotes an historian that many of us maybe never heard of, some of us maybe yes, who didn't understand how did the Jewish people continue to live. For God's sakes, it doesn't meet my equation. That's the way you should speak. Not just with a new message, but the delivery has to be with much passion. The delivery has to be invested in as much as the content of the message. After Rav Soloveitchik once gave a 4-hour shir in honor of his father's yortzeit, 2 hours Lomdus, 2 hours Agada, someone came up to him and said, with chutzpah, Rabbi Soloveitchik, you're a great actor. Rav Soloveitchik didn't take it as chutzpah. He said, acting is 90% of teaching. Rabbi Gold was like that. Which leads me to my third point. And that is that despite the fact that he believed that every Jew should make Aliya and live in Israel, every time a Jew did it, he gave them so much credit. When my father, Zichrono Livracha, introduced himself to Rabbi Gold after we made Aliya, this was the give and take. He says his name, and he says that we just made Aliya. Rabbi Gold almost hugs him and says, bless you. Where did you make Aliya from? So my father says, Cedarhurst. The 5 towns! Oh my gosh! So I thought he's just playing to the crowd, you know. A new congregant is going to pay membership fees. He wants to warm him up a little bit. I met Rabbi Gold throughout the years. I've seen him in those situations many a times. That's exactly the way he responded to anyone that made Aliya. It's a very hard jump to make Aliya, to leave the civilization you know, the banking system that you're familiar with, not to mention everything else, and to move to a new country with many problems and complexities. He appreciated it, despite his call for every Jew to make Aliya. Which leads me to my final point about Rabbi Gold. He had his points of view. He believed that every Jew should live in Israel. He definitely believed in what we call the right-wing way of thinking politically. We in the religious Zionist world want a person like that. He grew up in what we call the Haredi Yeshivish world. Torah Vadas, Ner Yisrael, Panovich, Hebron. You would have thought that a person like this shouldn't make his way to the religious Zionist world. And if he did, he's going to throw away everything from that world. Quite the opposite. He dressed with a black hat, the black kippah, never changed that. And at the same time felt totally at home in both worlds. You read his autobiography touching history, which I've done at least twice. You don't see any contradiction in there of someone that, I used to be here and now I'm here. Hahefech. He quotes equally Rav Kook, Rav Shapira, the way he quotes Rabbi Ruderman and the Panovich Rav. He writes dramatically and passionately about how he made the bracha shecharak mechochmato le'reyav on the brisker Rav. And we all know their ideologies, so he dealt with them. He didn't think for a minute that there's two Torahs. There's one Torah. We're all part of that world. So they said something hashkafically, deal with it. I believe that a person like that can be an example to us, especially in a world in which politicians try very hard to insert disunity in the Torah world, saying them and us. Quite the contrary. We, in the religious Zionist world, who believe that in 1948 a Big Bang happened, have to, on the one hand, appreciate what we have and everything that happened since 1948, but we're only going to do that if, on the other hand, we appreciate what came prior. And therefore we, just like him, should feel at home, quoting the Meshech Chochmah, the Brisker Rav, the Panovich Rav, the Rosh Yeshiva of Mir, just like we feel at home, quoting Rav Kook and Rav Soloveitchik and all the greats of the modern Orthodox / religious Zionist world. So to sum up, Rabbi Gold for me was four things. Number one, an innovative speaker. Never get up there and recycle. Number two, invest in delivery as much as you invest in content. Number three, appreciate every Jew that made Aliyah. It's not easy. And number four, don't go ahead and make divisions in the Torah world. It's one Torah. God is one God that gave his one Torah to the Jewish people. We dare not make divisions. I admit that I miss him greatly. I used to see him many, many times. After leaving Har Nof and this rabbinic conference on the streets of Yerushalayim and many other instances. And when I walk those streets, I do miss him. And I believe that many that were touched, either by his Torah, by his warmth, by his being their rabbi, miss him as well. But if we miss him, it's our job to continue that legacy here on earth, so that Be'ezrat Hashem, he may physically not be with us, but his ideals and his Torah are as alive today as it was when he was.
Some of my religious friends have never taken note of the fact that the state was born in an act of great sanctification of God's name. Because the British were supposed to leave Friday night at midnight. They advanced it by 6 hours so that those who were present should be able to make it home before Shabbos. Understand? First, Yom HaTzmaut.
Hey,